Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper Offersen and today we are going to talk a little bit about face washes or how to clean your face with a product from a company that I'm sure you know about. It is a very popular brand. It is a Cetaphil and it looks like this, or it looks like this, or it looks like this. And I have tried these three different ones. And one of them I have actually made an in-depth review on before, and that is this one here from for oily skin. So I would say that one of the things that you normally hear is that dermatologists, they love this brand here and they really recommend it and all that sort of thing, or that is what we are supposed to think, and it might be that they are doing that. When I have tried these ones here, I wonder, why would any dermatologist recommend something like this for the skin? It might be because when recommending something like this, then the alternative might be something that is even worse. Or that is sort of my thinking about it. Because I have tried this one here for oily skin. And yes, I do not have oily skin. But still, if you're trying a product and it is kind of like leaving your skin really very dry, I would say it's not great, not even if you have oily skin, because as we have spoken about a lot, I would say on this channel here, then if you have oily skin, it's not just a matter of drying out your skin as much as possible, because then most likely you will be destroying your skin barrier or the moisture barrier, and that will definitely not be a good thing, because then you are keeping this vicious cycle going that your skin is trying to compensate by producing a lot of sebum, and that is not a great thing. If you have oily skin, then you rather would have your skin to produce some ceramides, and we have often talked about that as well. So I have tried these ones here. So before I have tried this one here, you can see the video up here about that one. And I would say it is very well drying. Another thing is that we have this one here, which is a gentle cleanser, or gentle skin cleanser as they say, because it can actually be used, it says down here, on the face and on the body. And usually if you're using something on your face, you can use it on your body, but not necessarily the other way round. But I would say if you're using something that is meant to go on the face, it might be a little bit expensive to use it all over your body, though it might be a better option than using something that is designed for the body, because I find that usually something like that is really drying. I would say a lot of stuff is very drying and not particularly good for your skin, and you need to add a lot of creams and lotions and potions on top of your skin afterwards in order to compensate for the damage you have often done when you're using something that is drying your skin. So I have looked at this one here, which is a gentle foaming cleanser, and it looks like this. So lately I tried this one here. I tried this first, and then the day after I tried this one here, and I did exactly as I would normally do afterwards. So I added exactly the same serums and creams and that sort of stuff on top of my skin as I would normally do when I'm using a product like this one here from CeraVe, and we can just talk briefly about that one later. So if we just look at what I started with, and that was this one here, so the foaming cleanser. If we just, I'm not going to try it on, but you can just see how it works. You're not supposed to shake it or anything like that. It kind of like just foams up when you push it. So I think I have to turn the nozzle, kind of like you get this sort of foamy stuff out like this, and it doesn't smell of anything, so that's great. You just take the foam off here again. So what I did was I just put a little bit of water on my face, and then I used this stuff here all over my face, and then I washed it off with a microfiber cloth, so something like this. And after that, and that is what I normally do when I use something like this one, the CeraVe one, and that is the Crème Lavande Hydrante. So this one here for normal skin, basically it's normal to dry skin, and in English it is an hydrating cleanser. So I used this one here, and one thing to say about it is that it contains a cocamidopropylbetaine, and that is usually something that is used when you would like to make something that can cleanse your face in a sort of a gentle way. And I have another product that I sometimes daily basically use on my hair, where there is cocamidopropylbetaine in it as well, and that is when I'm not using the one that is a micellar gel from Simple that I have spoken about before, the water boost one. Usually it's a little bit difficult sometimes to get it where I want to buy it, so I've taken the other one from Simples instead, and that contains cocamidopropylbetaine, and that I would say it is meant to go on the face, but I use it on my hair before I use this one as a last step on my hair. And I would say if I use that directly on my face, it has a drying effect on my skin. And that was exactly what I felt when I was using this one here. It wasn't overwhelmingly bad like, oh, this is like a hand soap or something like that. That is not what we are talking about, but it is kind of like when you have used it and you cleanse it off with water and you just leave it a little while, I like to, when I test something, to kind of like wait a little bit before I put a cream or a serum on in order to see the effect of it. If I could actually use something to wash my face with and just do that and to not do anything else, I wouldn't do that, but kind of like just to test how drying is it on my skin. And I would say this started to feel really drying on my skin, kind of like your pores are kind of like being really, they shrink, and they kind of like shrink in this sort of sense that you get a feeling of a tight skin. Not in a nice way. You feel it in a way that your skin will at some point start to freak out. So yes, you should put a serum on afterwards, or at least a cream or something like that. Maybe an oil if you like. But I just tested it just to see how it would actually react on my skin just on its own. And I did exactly the same with this one here when I started to use that one. And I did that the other day as well, just to make sure that I compared the products here in a way that I can say how does it normally feel under my skin when I'm using something that I like to use, and when I use something like a new product as this one here or this one here, how does it feel on my skin if I just leave it after I have taken the water off and not do anything else. And I would say this is really drying, and something like this that is a lot more like, yeah, it's a bit tight to begin with, but then it kind of like your skin starts to relax. So what I did was I put exactly the same serums and creams on afterwards as I would normally do. Then I went to bed, and then I saw what happened the day after. And I would say, yes, your pillow will take up some of the cream that you have put on, but that would be exactly the same as what would normally happen. So I felt that my skin was really like dry. It was really like there was no oil on it, there was nothing on it really, and it felt really, really tight. And I just thought, okay, let's just have some breakfast and then later then see if I should add a cream on, because sometimes I might be a bit lazy and I don't wash my face in the morning sometimes. Well, rather often I don't do that, because I just let the skin work on its own with the oils that have been produced overnight, and then I would just put on some sunscreen if I am going out. So what I did was that I just waited a little while and saw how will my skin react, because sometimes you can be a little bit dry in the skin in the morning, and then because you've been sleeping on the pillow, which has been taking a lot of what is being created on your skin of the oils and stuff like that. And then after a little while, so before noon, then your skin might have produced enough oils in order to feel comfortable again. That is what happens if I do something like that and have used this one in the evening. But when I used either this one here or this one here, then my skin just kept being dry, and it actually became worse and worse. So I thought I need to put something on. So I put a sunscreen on, and that was actually a sunscreen that gives a lot of moisture as well. So what I felt was I definitely needed to put something on my skin, because it kind of like it became to a point where I just felt I can't handle this. I need to put something on. So that's what I did. And I would say normally I just put a sunscreen on after I have used this one here, and that will be fine during the day. But it's still, when I had used either this one here or this one here, then even that I put the sunscreen on, which is a moisturizing sunscreen, then I felt tight during the day. So in the afternoon, I just felt like I like to come home and then cleanse my face, and then put a lot of cream on again in order to kind of like balance my skin again. So that happened when I used this one here. And I would say this one here, which is a gentle skin cleanser, it was not as bad as this one here was, but it's still kind of like it was the same thing that happened. And I would say this one here, it actually contains something that you might not like, because there have been a lot of talking about parabens, and yes, they are in there in order to keep a product safe so it doesn't go moldy and stuff like that, because that can also be problematic for your skin. So you need to have something to stop all that sort of bad things. I would just say that if you look at this one here, then there are actually 3 different parabens in it. So if you are someone that does not like parabens in a product, then this one here is definitely not for you. It has various parabens in it, and one of them is propyl paraben and the other one is butyl paraben. And what is interesting about those two, the last one in here is methyl paraben. So the difference between those 3 ones is that the 2 first ones, they have a longer side chain, and what that means, longer than methyl paraben, which has a very short side chain or branch. And what that means is that usually when you looked at products in the past, I would always say, okay, if it's just methyl paraben, it's kind of like it's okay. But the problem with the other ones is that they have this longer side chain, and that is basically that the longer the side chain is, the more problematic the paraben is. So I would say if you want to have something where there is a paraben in it, then I would say go for methyl or ethyl paraben only, and not go for these larger ones like butyl paraben and the other one. So I would say it might be that a Cetaphil, that is something that is recommended by a dermatologist, and it is in general looked at as something very nice and pleasant and good for your skin and all that sort of thing. But if you don't like the parabens, this product here is definitely not something you should choose. So that I would say was not great. Well, apart from that, these I would say all these ones here, definitely this one here, this is for oily skin, and this one here, and this one here, I would say they are all very, very drying. They are so drying that I am definitely not going to buy them again. I just bought them in order to test them and show you what I have felt about these products here that people are saying that dermatologists, they are recommending. Well, they are also usually said to recommend CeraVe, and I can understand that, because what actually happened was that I used normally I used this one here, and then I tried this one here one day, and the day after I tried this one here, and then to be sure what I felt with these ones here compared to this one here, I just used that one again before I made this review here. And I can say I actually tried it a couple of days after I have used this one here or this one here. And the first day after, I didn't even feel that just using this and then doing my normal regime as I would normally have done, and that I did after this one here and after this one here. It was not enough to make my skin feel back to normal. So I would say after a couple of days of using this, then, or basically being back to my normal regime, then my skin was back to that I feel it is okay again. So it will say, even that this is something that is gentle and recommended by dermatologists, and this one here as well, I would say it took actually a couple of days using this again before my skin felt nice again. So that tells you a little bit about the difference between a product like this and a product like this one here. Because this one here, it contains various ceramides, and that is what a CeraVe is basically famous for. And therefore you have this one here that is making your skin look and feel very moisturized afterwards. And you might feel a little bit of sort of not slippery greasiness after you have used it, but sort of like you have a sort of a waxy stuff on your skin, and that is basically what ceramides are. They are some sort of a waxy substance, and that really helps with your moisture barrier, and that is what your skin is trying to produce itself if it's working well. But if your skin is not working well, then the skin has issues with producing ceramides, and then I would say this is definitely something you should use, and this is not something you should use. And this one here actually is the same price price as these ones here, or kind of like the same range. And you can actually get this bigger one here. So you have the small one here, and you have this bigger one here. And I think this costs 50% more than this one here, but you get a whole lot more than just 50% more. So yes, I would say that this is definitely the one I would choose over any of these ones here, even if you have oily skin. Because if you have oily skin, it is just a matter of making sure that your skin barrier is working correctly. And yes, that can be very difficult, but I would say drying your skin out constantly, that is not the solution. So yes, that was my verdict on these products here. So if you'd like to see more of this sort of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell, and do all those things if you still in order to be notified when I upload more of this sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.